A concerning new study shows that Michigan seatbelt use has dropped sharply and is now the lowest rate it's been in 17 years. Kendall Wingrove with the Office of Highway Safety Planning is here now to talk about this study. Great to see you.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
How concerning are these numbers?
Traffic safety advocates across not only Michigan, but the entire United States are very concerned about the drop in seatbelt compliance rates. It's not unique to Michigan, but here in the Great Lakes state, we've dropped from 94.4% in 2019 to 92.6% in 2021. That may not sound like a lot, but it's a significant drop, and it puts us at the lowest compliance rate since 2004.
And also this comes at the same time that traffic deaths are up 10% over last year. So is there a correlation there?
We believe there is a correlation. The traffic fatality numbers in Michigan for 2020 were very concerning. We lost 98 more people in 2020 than we did in 2019. We think there is a variety of factors at play. Two of the things that jump out at us, they may not be all the reasons, but they're two of the biggest. Excessive speeding and not wearing seatbelts seem to be two of the most important factors in that rise in traffic deaths in 2020.
Do you have any insight about why people aren't wearing their seatbelts, or people who maybe used to wear them but stopped doing it?
We're desperately trying to find out. We think part of the answer is the pandemic. In the spring of 2020, a lot of people gave up their normal driving habits. Oh, they might have run to the corner store or did a handful of errands, but they stopped driving. In 2020, the number of vehicle miles traveled was significantly less than in previous years, and yet fatalities had risen dramatically. So that means if you had a crash in 2020, you were much more likely to die in that crash than in previous years. So people are exhibiting behaviors that are more unusual than they have been in recent memory. We think part of the answer is people just got out of the habit of driving, and as they re-entered society and began driving again, there may be a need, there most obviously must be a need, to educate them again and remind them about those good driving behaviors that they used to have, or if they're young drivers who have never driven before, to definitely educate them to start their driving careers in a good way with good habits.
Yeah, and not just the drivers then. We also want to make sure that passengers in the back seats are buckled up as well.
Absolutely. That's why the Office of Highway Safety Planning has had a campaign going for several weeks about buckling up in the rear seat. It is imperative to do that. And even if you won't do it for yourself, do it for the others in the vehicle. If you're in the back seat, you're unbuckled, and a crash occurs, you may emerge all right, but you may be a human projectile smashing into some of your friends or loved ones that are elsewhere in the car, and you could hurt them.
Wow, yeah. Well, it's great information, of course, to remind people again, buckle up every time, even that quick trip to the store.
Absolutely. If you're running a child to a school event or a sports activity, going to the local pharmacy, grocery store, picking up gas at the local station, always buckle up. Every trip, every time, not just when you go to the cottage up north or on a big trip, but just around the corner. Buckle up every time.
Great information. Kendall, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And tomorrow night, West Michigan Dental Group is offering an opportunity to change someone's life with an extreme health makeover. We will talk to Jared Van Ittersum with Infinity Dental about what's involved and how you can nominate someone. That's tomorrow night in the 7 Conversation.